Don't make these 5 training mistakes. Hello, I'm Julia, and this is Rosco the Maltipoo. As first-time dog owners, my family has learned a lot about training along the way. Rosco is now 2 years old, and he knows a ton of commands, but we've certainly made mistakes that have set back our training. Most of these mistakes we didn't even realize we were making until we started going to a training class. Anyways, I hope this video can help you out so you don't make our same mistakes. So the first mistake that we made is showing Rosco the treat before he does the trick. So here's an example. I have a piece of bacon and I say, Rosco, roll over, and he can see it. It's right in front of his nose. This makes him extremely motivated because he knows I have a snack. And he knows what kind of snack I have. Whenever we introduce Rosco a new command, we always will show him the treat to use as a lure. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about after Rosco's mastered a command, asking him to do a trick when he knows we have food. So why is showing your dog the treat before he does the trick a bad idea? So I found that when I'm outside playing with Rosco, 9 times out of 10 he doesn't come when I ask him to, which I need to work on that. But the moment he sees me grab a treat, he'll come bolting towards me. Just try to get into the mind of a dog for a second. If you always show your dog the treat whenever you have one, then why should they come to you when you aren't showing them a treat? Because then they think you don't have one and there's no motivation for them to come to you. So in the training class we take Rosco to, the trainer there has a funny saying called, "Don't let your dog do the math." Here's what I mean. If I'm on a walk with Rosco and I want him to heel and he sees that I have a piece of stale Buddy biscuit, he might decide it's not worth it compared to if I had a piece of boiled chicken. When it comes to training, you always want to keep your dog wondering, what will she have this time? Will she have a treat? Imagine a slot machine. Don't always give your dog a treat when they listen to you because then they'll always expect a treat. But at the same time, if your dog learns the command and then you just stop giving treats altogether, then there's going to be no motivation for them to listen to you. I guess we did learn one thing from this mistake. Rosco's smarter than he looks. Okay, so mistake number 2 has to be one of my biggest personal weaknesses when it comes to training, and that is correcting Rosco on walks with the leash. Whenever I'd take Rosco for walks and he'd pull, I'd use the leash to constrict him. Another habit I fell into was if Rosco went to sniff something or if he didn't look at me when I told him to, I'd jerk the leash as like a correction. Even now, I find myself making this mistake all the time. But you might wonder, why is this a mistake? Your dog shouldn't be pulling on the leash, and as the owner, it's your job to correct him. Well, here's the truth. If your aim is to get your dog to walk with a loose leash, tightening up on the leash or jerking it, it's pointless. The leash has to be loose for your dog to learn how to walk on a loose leash. Rosco, say that 10 times fast. Your dog is never going to learn how to heel correctly if you're constantly restricting him. In order for your dog to learn a command, he has to be the one that's, I don't know, like initiating it or making the decision to do it. Otherwise, it's not going to go anywhere. If you're just relying on the leash to control your dog, then you have no control over your dog. Real control comes when you've trained your dog to listen to you and respect you. I'm working on a video about how we taught Rosco to walk on a loose leash, so keep your eye out for that. But anyways, here's how I've tried to prevent myself from falling into this habit and using the leash as a corrective tool. So at all times, I try my best to keep it loose and dangling so it's like a J. If he starts pulling, I'll usually tell him to come and then guide him back to my side. If he starts pulling on the leash because there's a dog or a squirrel up ahead, generally I'll just turn the other direction and then just walk away. The important thing here is I'm not pulling on the leash. I'm just walking in the other direction. But once the leash runs out, Rosco's just gonna have to follow me. So yeah, you don't wanna be yanking it like, Rosco, come on this way. I can almost guarantee that you watching this video make this mistake on a regular basis. And if you don't, then good for you. This was one of those mistakes that I knew it was a mistake from the beginning, but I just kept doing it out of laziness. The mistake was repeating a command to Rosco over and over again when he didn't listen to me. I'll use the example again where I'm outside and I want Rosco to come to me. So if he's not listening, I'll often say, come, and then Rosco, come, as if that's gonna make him listen. When no, it's really only teaching him to ignore my commands. Try your best, and this is for me too, to only give one cue. And cue could be anything: shuffling your feet, clearing your throat, doing a hand signal, repeating your dog's name in a condescending tone. Rosco. By giving these additional cues, saying the command once, then twice, then shuffling your feet, then clearing your throat, your dog will learn to wait until you've said the command once, and then twice, and then shuffled your feet, and then cleared your throat. to listen to you. Either that or he won't listen at all. I mean, if I were a dog and my owner was saying the command over and over again and giving me other signals, think of how confusing that would be. Keep it simple and stick to one cue. This way your dog will learn to listen to you right off the bat, and there's not going to be all this extra confusion. I've gotten better at this, but when I tell Rosco to do something, I try to wait for 30 seconds, and then if he still doesn't do it, then I assume that he didn't hear me right, and I'll repeat it one more time. If this video is being helpful and entertaining to you thus far, I'd really appreciate it if you'd give this video a paw up. Our fourth mistake is paying attention to Rosco when he barks or whines. Often when Rosco's upstairs barking at something out the window, one of us will say, "Hey Rosco, stop, there's nothing out there. Stop your barking." Not actual commands, just gibberish that's not going to mean anything to him. Another example is if we're in the car and Rosco's whining because one of us left to go in the store, I'll start reassuring Rosco and petting him and talking to him in a soothing voice. "Don't worry, Daddy's going to be back." Here's what that does. It rewards Rosco for misbehaving. Our attention is almost as valuable to Rosco as treats. So when he does something out of conduct, whether it be whine when one of us leaves or bark out the window, and we start giving him all this attention and petting him and talking to him, he just got something good out of doing something wrong. When we were in training class and Rosco would start barking at another dog, both my dad and I had the same instinct. And that was to look at Rosco and say, "Wrong," or "Quiet." The dog trainer got after us for this, and I'm really glad that she did. She basically told us up front, we're feeding the behavior that we're trying to correct. So the best thing to do here is just ignore it. And then when Rosco is quiet and does the behavior that we want, then we give him a treat and reward him for that. The fifth and the final mistake in this video is training Rosco to get excited around Chippy, aka the chipmunk in our backyard. I take full responsibility for this mistake. Actually, maybe my mom is partially to blame too. Nonetheless, we have encouraged Rosco's Chippy instincts. Chippy? Chippy's outside. We unintentionally taught Rosco what the word Chippy means. So now whenever he hears it, he perks up, and if we're outside, he'll start running around and looking for Chippy. At first we thought this was really funny and cute, but it gets less cute when there's a chipmunk across this road and Rosco's pulling and trying to get it when there's oncoming traffic. Not only did I help Rosco to learn the term Chippy, but I fell into the habit of picking Rosco up when there was a squirrel or a chipmunk outside our window and showing it to him and saying, "Rosco, look, it's Chippy." I don't understand why this is so tempting. Well, probably because Rosco goes hysterical. I want to insert a voice recording I got one day when I did this. I say no more. But after I started showing Rosco squirrels all the time out the window, now if I go to look out the window, just like this movement, he'll start barking like he goes out of control. Moral of the story, don't create a bad behavior in your dog. If you enjoyed hearing about all of our past mistakes, go watch this video next where I share more of our past mistakes. Thank you so much for watching, and Rosco and I will see you in the next video. Bye!